One, the memory that sneaks up on you. Do you ever wonder why some memories hang around like the faint smell of old books on a rainy day? Have you ever found yourself laughing at something no one else even remembers? Right now, close your eyes. What's the first moment that drifts back to you? You're sitting alone at your kitchen table, fingers wrapped around a chipped ceramic mug that's seen more years than your favorite pair of slippers. Outside, there's the gentle hum of cicadas and the fading light pools on the floor like spilled honey. In this soft, quiet hour, a memory tiptoes into your mind, uninvited yet somehow welcome. You see yourself at 25. Your hair is thicker, your smile wider, and your wallet, well, let's just say it was a magician's wallet, always empty. You're full of big words and bigger dreams. You think you're invincible, like you could jump off a roof and land on a cloud. One morning, you wake up with the kind of wild courage that only belongs to people who still believe they have endless time. You decide you're done with your steady job, the one that paid the rent, kept the fridge humming, and your mom somewhat convinced you were doing just fine. You pack up your life in 2 suitcases and one half-torn duffel bag. You remember the look on your neighbor's face when you said, "I'm off to make something of myself." He raised an eyebrow so high it nearly waved goodbye. In those early days, you feel light as air, untouchable. Every streetlight feels like a spotlight. Every cheap diner burger tastes like victory. You tell yourself, "I'll figure it out on the way." Spoiler alert, you don't. Not right away, anyway. Sometimes you catch yourself chuckling about those days. You think, who was that fearless kid? But in this quiet kitchen, with your old mug and the cicadas singing back up, you realize that kid is still tucked inside you somewhere, waiting to remind you that sometimes life isn't about the landing. It's about the jump. Two, the leap without a net. You can almost feel the heat of that summer morning on your face again, the way the sun wrapped around your shoulders like an eager, pushy friend. You take your last look at your tiny apartment, that crooked bookshelf you swore you'd fix, the spaghetti sauce stain on the wall that looked suspiciously like Elvis, the stack of unopened bills you left like a goodbye letter to your old self. You tell yourself you're going to be someone big. You're going to write songs, paint masterpieces, maybe even inspire a stranger on a late-night bus ride. You march out the door like a soldier heading into battle, except your armor is blind optimism and your sword is a half-charged flip phone. At first, it feels like flying. You crash on a friend's couch that smells like old pizza and broken promises. You juggle gigs that pay in free beer and exposure. You once perform at a dive bar where the only applause comes from a drunk guy who thought you were the karaoke machine. You remember standing on street corners with your guitar, playing to an audience of pigeons and one very confused tourist. You laugh about it now, but back then, every coin in your guitar case felt like a medal of honor. You even named your guitar Martha because, as you used to joke, Martha's the only one who listens without interrupting. There were nights when you slept on your guitar case like it was a pillow from the Ritz. You survived on dollar menu tacos and the stubborn belief that tomorrow would finally be the big break. Looking back, you can almost hear your younger self whisper, "Don't worry, I've got this," right before tripping face first into a pile of reality. You didn't realize then that freedom without a map is just a long, winding road where you get lost. Yeah, and sometimes that's exactly what you need. Because when you're lost, you meet yourself in places you never expected to find company. Part 3, the call that changed everything. You're leaning against a cold wall in a musty hallway, the kind that echoes every footstep and cough. Your phone, an old flip thing that barely holds a charge, vibrates like a tiny earthquake in your pocket. You see your mother's name on the screen, and your heart skips a beat. That instinctive, ancient warning bell only a mother's call can ring. You flip it open, trying to sound cheerful. "Hey Ma, what's cooking?" you joke, even though you're living on instant noodles and questionable diner coffee. But her voice trembles, like a leaf about to fall. She tells you your dad had a fall. Bad. He's in the hospital, hooked up to more machines than you can imagine. Her words come out in gasps, and you can almost see her clutching the kitchen counter, that floral apron you gave her years ago still tied on her waist. In that second, every note you ever played, every sketch you ever scribbled, every cheap taco you thought tasted like freedom, it all feels tiny. You hear your younger self in your head whispering, "What now, hero?" And for the first time, you don't have a smart answer. You pack your bag in a daze. You leave behind Martha, your guitar, promising you'll come back. You hop on a bus that feels like it's carrying all your failures with you, rattling around your chest like loose change. When you step into that stark, sterile hospital room, the world narrows down to the beeping of a heart monitor and the rise and fall of your dad's chest. You sit next to him, hold his warm, rough hand, and suddenly you're not a wandering artist anymore. You're just a kid, a scared kid who wants his dad to squeeze back. And he does, just the faintest squeeze, but enough to let you know he's still in there, somewhere behind the tubes and wires. You whisper, "I'm here now, Dad." And in that moment, you realize you'd trade every dream, every song, every cheap laugh for just one more morning to hear him say, "Pass me the paper, kid." 4. Finding light in the smallest places. You're back home now, in that old creaky house where the floorboards complain with every step, as if they're catching up on all the stories they missed while you were gone. You unpack your bag slowly, each t-shirt and pair of socks feeling like a relic from a past life. You keep telling yourself, just for a little while, just until Dad gets better. At first, the walls feel like they're closing in on you. You go from neon bar lights and midnight bus rides to early morning grocery runs and arguing with your mom about the right way to fold dish towels. You help your dad with his slow steps down the hallway, each shuffle a small victory, each exhale a quiet prayer. You start noticing small things that used to slip right by you, the way your mom hums an off-key song while peeling apples, the smell of fresh cut grass wafting through the screen door, the old dog next door that snores like a chainsaw but somehow makes you smile. One day, as you're making scrambled eggs, burnt as usual, your dad peeks over and mutters, "Guess you didn't inherit your mom's cooking skills, huh? Huh?" You both laugh so hard that the eggs end up on the floor, and for a split second, it feels like the world is stitched back together. You start playing small shows at the local cafe, where the audience is mostly retirees, and one kid who thinks your guitar case is a tip jar for candy money. You tell silly jokes between songs, like, "Why did the Scarecrow win an award?" "Because he was outstanding in his field." And everyone groans in that delicious warm way that makes you feel like you're home. Your dreams don't disappear, they just shift shape. You realize the applause from a room of 10 friends who know your dog's name feels louder than the echo in any big city bar. In the end, you find that life isn't just about chasing sunsets across faraway rooftops. Sometimes it's about learning to watch them slowly from your own backyard, a chipped mug in hand and laughter rolling through the kitchen. 5. The lesson that echoes in quiet moments. The days turn into years, softly, like pages in an old book, turning themselves when the wind sneaks in through the window. You find yourself waking up before the alarm, savoring the sound of birds outside, that gentle chorus you once thought was just background noise. You catch your reflection in the window sometimes and see the faint lines on your face, each one a quiet chapter of who you've become. You think back to that fearless kid at 25, the one who thought he could outrun everything. Heartbreak, time, even the pull of home. You almost want to reach through the glass and ruffle his hair, tell him he's going to be okay, tell him that the dream he thought he lost would come back, softer, kinder, and with 1,000 unexpected colors. You understand now that the mistake wasn't quitting your job or chasing that big dream. The real mistake would have been never trying at all, never jumping without a net, never learning the beautiful pain of coming back home to yourself. Some nights, when the house is quiet and the moon spills silver onto your old wooden floor, you sit with a cup of tea and whisper to the past, "Thank you." You thank the sleepless nights, the awkward gigs, the burned eggs, the small town shows, each one a lantern that lit your way here. You learn that dreams aren't always meant to be conquered like mountaintops. Sometimes they're meant to be held gently like fireflies cupped in your palms. They glow bright enough to guide you, but soft enough to remind you to breathe. As you lean back, listening to the soft ticking of the clock and your own even breath, a warmth spreads in your chest. You realize you are exactly where you're supposed to be, a place you never planned on a map, yet somehow always belonged. Sometimes the echoes of yesterday whisper the loudest when you finally let the silence hold you.